right. So now we're live.
Now we're live.
Since I didn't press the live button. So welcome to the War Room. Patriot Business Alliance here with our man, Seth Watson. We'll give him the floor here in a minute and let him know, let the people know who you are, where you're from and whatever. So
sounds good.
Like to start with our gratitude. So Casey, why don't you kick it off?
Right now, I'm grateful that we are actually on the air.
There you go.
Because, every once in a while I was getting a client ready for a hearing the other day, and they were really, really stressing about being nervous and this, that, and the other. And I was like, look, man, the ball is going to roll off the field. The pass is going to go high. The orchestra pit will be out of tune, right? The stage lights will not be tied right and will fall out of alignment, right? Something will happen. Any number of scenario, whatever works for you, right? There will be a whiff. And I remember one time I had just killed it doing some video recordings, and I think I had done like a 25-minute deal because record a chunk and then it gets blown out into micro bits, right?
Yeah.
Right, micro content.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like patting myself on the back, like, damn, that was I did all that in one take.
Yeah.
And then get over to the camera and I'm like, oh man.
We about did this on this show tonight. We did the whole damn show.
So I'm grateful for the fact that we caught that, right? And we're not doing that whiff, and it's 6:25, and we're getting a call from Doc Rannigan going like, hey, what are you jokers doing?
What about your business win?
Business win. Look, man, back in the office this week, I've had some people in, people out, holidays, this, that, and the other. I mean, just the fact that everything's firing on all thrusters, right? Things are growing. I mean, just happy to, like you were saying when we were off the air, but now that we're on the air, right? Just happy that things are going in all the directions. And I'm pushing hard in 2022. I'm doing more than I've ever done before. And I've done a lot. This is year 8 for me.
Yeah.
Right. In 20 something days, year 8. And, just not taking my foot off the gas, making sure I'm being consistent, right? We're going to talk about being decisive, right? Taking big action, right level. What's the right level of action? Massive action. That's what my mentor says. Mm-hmm. And, just bringing that every day, right? So get up at the same time every day, get that workout in, right? Eat right, get up, drill, right? Then I do another drill immediately after the 8:15 drill's over. I do the 9 o'clock drill. Then there's an 11:40 drill, right? So, I mean, it's just a lot of being repetitive, working on that free throw, working on that no looky pass, whatever you want to call it, right? But that way I can just increase and improve me. So I'm better than I was yesterday, every day.
That's the only competition. What about yourself? Good news.
Good news.
Wins.
Personal wins going to be getting through the holidays and some family birthdays. Kids get a little crazy, especially when it comes around to after Christmas. Having birthdays in January, they start asking. They're like, "Hey, I want to get this for my birthday."
Well, Santa was just here.
We just spent quite a few bucks on Christmas, so maybe let's tone it back a little bit. But that ties kind of into my my business.
Socks and undies kind of birthday, or what? What do we do? We do that at Christmas.
No, I mean
that's the worst
stocking thing. That's a stocking thing. I mean, a couple writing utensils go in there too.
The gag gifts, those are the best for the.
Oh, they're not gag gifts. They're back to school gifts. But going for the business win, was able to, government contracting's open back up. So got a lot of potential coming forward. So.
This is one time we can say, thanks, Brandon.
Yeah.
Or wait, what's the catchphrase? I don't know.
I got
not a news watch.
I got a bunch of 4-letter words for that whole system, but we'll go with my gratitude for this week.
Yeah, let's go with gratitude.
I was talking off air about what I was grateful for, but now listening to you guys, what I'm really grateful for, my personal win, is that the holidays are over. Be honest with you.
This is the guy who 100%. Was calling me out for being humbug and the Grinch.
I'm telling you, man, like I just had a different mindset this year.
You were very humbuggish.
I was very humbuggish this year, and unfortunately, it's one of those things where I feel like
Alexa, play Mr. Grinch.
Yeah, man. I'm just grateful that they're over with, and I think it's more about not the humbug part.
I know. I'm giving you a hard time.
It's more about the systematic approach that I have on a daily basis.
Yeah.
the action that I take daily to go forward in my goals, a lot of that time, it never stopped for me.
Right.
But it just kind of felt like the Twilight Zone.
Well, that's because the holidays throws everything from shipping out of whack to throws people's availabilities to times that they're going to be working. So I mean, if it throws your schedule all out the window, then you're going to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which is a segue into my business win, which is I'm getting product now shipping that's been on order for months and months. And somehow it all showed up right before Christmas. So I'm not sure what happened or if the ships, got to finally unload or whatever. But now my business win is I'm able to actually start scheduling out some of the larger projects that I have that require some critical components to do the automated stuff that we do in the home. So personal win is I'm happy that all that shit's over. Business win is I'm happy that I got product that I can actually start, following through. So massive thank you to my clients for being patient throughout that. So, and the ones that aren't my clients, then hey
man, that's it.
Not every client's your client. Not all money's good money.
You're absolutely right. But I mean, I think everybody and audience, we want to hear from you out there in social media land, in Facebook, in YouTube. Comment, like, subscribe, share, and let us know what's going on, or hit us up at Patriot Business Alliance TX@gmail.com. Right.
So we have that. And what we also have is Seth Watson in studio tonight, who's a part of Operation Once in a Lifetime. So I'll give you the floor. Tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do.
And thanks for being here, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, no
Drove
problem.
all the way from Melissa. Windshield time.
Yeah, it's a beautiful town, though.
It is a little bit of a drive to get to this side of 75, but no problem. Like I said, I'm Seth Watson. I work with Operation Once in a Lifetime. One of the executive directors. I work with Patrick Sowers over there. We do a bunch of different things, but basically we're kind of like a Make-A-Wish for service members and their families in need. What I do personally, though, is I'm more of like the backroom guy. I kind of, plan, help push things out and help coordinate a lot of the stuff. I also, have my own business and do small business consulting on my own, and try and take that decades worth of leadership experience I got from the Army and put it to use.
Tell us a little bit more about that, because that's what this is. This is a mentorship program. So what is it that you find your strength in mentoring other businesses, and how can people get a hold of you?
Okay, well, first, to get a hold of me, Seth at Veterans Inc. VeteransInc.com.
Like it's ink, like this ink.
Yeah,
not
like
the INC. Yeah.
So it's easiest way to get in touch with me. But okay, so the military each year spends millions of dollars teaching, I'm going to say young kids, 19 on up, how to be a leader to not only their fellow soldiers, but in different aspects of their chosen profession. So in any job you go to, you always get that one person who's been around, we've done it, we know how it goes.
Yeah, the OG.
Well, I mean, they might not always been there the longest, but they're the person that when the stuff hits the fan, they know how to get things out.
Yeah.
And so taking that leadership approach, like I said, for over 9 years, I was in a leadership position. I was medically retired, ripe old age of 30. 9 years of leadership experience, from just being a team leader, dig partner, to squad leader, operations NCO, master gunner, those things, taking all that leadership experience and transitioning to the civilian world, because a lot of entrepreneurs, especially new entrepreneurs, I've noticed and I found that they get out, and the reason why they're an entrepreneur now is because they were great in their small scope,
niche,
that niche, in that little field. But now the problem is that they're not having to deal with the whole picture before, but now all of a sudden it's like payroll. It's
so much more than just that one focus you had in the service.
Yeah. So if you're gonna, if we'll say if you're installing TVs or selling TVs or cars or anything like that, and you go out and you open your own lot or your own business or your own space, and then now you got to look at, how am I getting clients in? How am I getting, make sure that my supply chain stays good?
Yeah.
How am I going to make sure that my new hires know exactly what I'm expecting of them? Because that's a big thing. In the military, we call them SOPs, standard operating procedures, and we have TTPs, techniques, tactics, and proficiency procedures, and we train to a standard, which is a TPU, trained, proficient, or untrained. and we all have this kind of like basic knowledge in the military. And so by taking all those lessons learned that the government spends, like I said, millions on each year, and take that out, and now I can go as an outsider looking into a business and go, hey, you know, where's our continuity books? Where's our basic call sheet? You know, if somebody calls the office, how do I answer the phone? I mean, you just
the simple procedures.
Yeah. You bring that in, and then people start going, oh, well, I don't want to micromanage everything. No, but you want everybody to be showing the same foot forward for your business, because it's not their name on the door.
There's a difference between micromanaging people and having processes that dictate how the people act or the actions that they take for your business. Like this guy has 12, 13 guys, employees now. I remember when it was 4 with this guy, you know?
Yeah.
You, your wife, and two gals that work for you.
Yeah.
Now you've had to see an increase in your processes and your planning.
Yep.
And decision making with your team. So, you know, I think micromanaging and processes are totally different. Like you're here tonight to talk with us about being decisive, but you're also going to talk a little bit about planning, because that's kind of a passion that you have. That's a passion I have too. I'm
Jeff is the master planner.
I wouldn't say master planner, but I'm a project manager by trade. So the planning aspect to me is critical. So I appreciate you joining us, man. It sounds like you have, how many clients would you say you're taking on right now?
Without divulging too much about the government stuff, you know, I got.
No, we don't care about the government.
got at least about a good 24 people that call me up and ask and want to know what's going on.
Good. Okay. Cool. So it keeps you busy and on top of Operation Once in a Lifetime, which is a phenomenal veteran organization. I mean, I missed the trip in September last year because it was short notice, but I'm hoping to make it this year.
We've got 3 trips coming up this year. Very cool. We got not only the DC closure trip, which we go to Arlington and we say goodbye to our fallen comrades, but we're also doing a New York trip this year. Once we can figure out whether or not New York's going to be open or closed, because they're dealing with a lot with COVID and the Omicron and the governor shutting everything down. But we're going to go up because it's been, 20 years since the towers fell. And so
I feel like they keep saying 20 years every year. I feel like it's been longer than that, because I've been out of the Corps for 20 years and 9/11 happened when I was in. So how many years has it really been? At least 22. Happened in 2021.
Happened in 2001.
Happened in 2001.
So it's 20 this year. Or last year was 20. I just can't keep track of it, man. Everybody's been saying it's been 20 years for like 15 years.
But I mean, that's a whole nother generation.
We're just rounding up, right?
That's some mesquite math, I guess.
It's just that, we're just gonna round it. It's kind of like how you got that pass in 8th grade. Coach was like, "You really don't deserve this. I'm gonna round these F's up to a C."
Thank God for that. Walk across the stage on that one. I'll take it. So before we jump into our content,
they just didn't want you to come back. I had the same thing happen.
They didn't. The Skinner name was get it out of there. While we got a few people on, I want to say tomorrow, next Wednesday will be the 19th.
The 19th.
We're going to be having an in-person networking event here at the Patriot Business Alliance space.
Yep.
And we'll put together like an event on the calendar for you guys, but to be determined on some details, guest speaker and time, but start probably 5 to 6, something like that. But mark your calendars if you can make it. Love to have you guys here. Just want to throw a quick little shout out about that. So Casey, without further ado, let's jump into this content, my man.
So this is a dive into real world application of things that can help you develop, grow, and scale your business, right? Because Jeff and Doc and I have all been to the most expensive school. We talk about it all the time. Most expensive school you can be in. Bing, right? The school of hard knocks, right? Where you're like, well, shit. Sorry, Keith. That didn't work, right? Or I just took in any old stray dog that filled out an application. Bing! That didn't work, right? So, we're not going to go back into everything we talked about last week. We didn't have a chance to get it into all, but, here's an SOP that we've all learned from a mutual mentor, Tom Keenan. Get your core values squared away, right? That's something that I actually, when I did a little dive on core values, right? And you have to be decisive about your damn core values, right? And we'll get to that in a second. but I did a little dive into, how far back can I go with having core values, put in my face before it was like, oh man, that's like Novocaine. It's like the Cowboys offense.
Yeah.
It finally worked, right? You know what I'm saying? So
20 years later.
Yeah, like 20 years, so I'm going back to like my elementary school in Austin, Texas. And I'm like, they got core values. Damn, they had, and then my junior high in Houston, Texas. I'm like, John J. Pershing Middle School had core values, but yes, they in fact did have core values, right? And just wasn't paying attention to them, right? It wasn't something that was important to me, but I realized in business that I was 6 years late to the game on core values because I didn't meet Mr. Keenan until I had already been doing this 6 years and 6 years of hard knocks, right? But now core values is a part of the standard operating procedures that everybody in the Patriot Business Alliance teaches and preaches to everybody that we are lucky enough to mentor and be part of their team, and they're part of our team. And the reason why is because it is the guide on that you measure everything else, right? All your decisions are based on this paradigm that is your core values.
Well, they should be, right? And that's the thought behind the core values. And I'd like to hear your thought on core values because we preach about them all the time. I like how you said that it's the guide on because it's the tip of the spear,
right?
It's like what we like to call it. What are your thoughts on core values?
I mean, for me, the integrity stuff, the loyalty, those are things that especially an up and coming business person, those are your pillars.
Yeah.
Because if you tell a client or you tell somebody, hey, I'm going to get this done for you, and you don't.
Yeah.
Now what's going on there? I mean, it used to be, my handshake is as good as my word is my bond. But you get a lot of people that seem to have lost that path. And
fell to the wayside for sure.
It definitely did. It seems the core values, I might have worded them a little differently because we just called them values that got out of the military, and they pushed integrity, personal courage, honor, selfless service, selfless sacrifice, and all that good stuff. You get all that, rammed down your throat, and the military is just trying to teach you how to be a good person because they don't know where you came from. But as a business person, you need to teach and work with people that are good people.
Yeah, and it's tough to find them, man. It's I'm going through some transition right now, I guess you would call it, with employees, and you want to lean on your employees. You want to expect from your employees, and then you want to hold them accountable. But not everybody's created equal. Well, you know what I mean? And some people you have to cup their balls and tell them they're pretty and all this other shit, And
hashtag sorry, Keith.
I'm being serious, man. And then other people, you can literally go up and say, hey, this is not how I showed you how to do this. It's not how I trained you how to do this. And this is not what's expected from you. And they're okay with it. And they go, yes, sir. They walk off, and next time it's fixed. Me, I'm not cupping anybody's balls. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. So at the end of the day, if you're looking for a job at Black Level AV, don't come soft because you ain't getting that from here. You know what I mean?
Right. We're not dancing. We're not teaching people that.
Yeah, man. And so I'm learning the school of hard knocks now on that personally. And no matter what your core values are, sometimes they just won't get it. Right.
Well, not everybody's going to make it, right? I mean, that's just something you're going to have to deal with. We all had this dream, I don't know if you've ever been, y'all aren't drinkers, and I'm not saying anything, but I don't know if you've ever been to the Anheuser Busch Brewery in St. Louis, Missouri. No. And I'm not bringing it up for a beer story because it's the furthest thing, but I happened to be there. And I happened to take the brewery tour because I wanted to see this massive icon of Americana. And the thing that was so amazing about that company, and I know it's part of a global conglomerate now, but back then it was literally owned by a German family. The Anheusers and the Busches got married, and they were, they're like, well, I make beer. Well, you make beer. Well, maybe we should date, right? So they got together, they merged their children and their fortunes, and they made this great company that did everything it could to transform this rustic place out in the middle of the prairie into into a light of industry and education. The first school in the state, if I'm not mistaken, in the state of Missouri, is in and still operates up until just a few years ago, the Anheuser Busch Brewery campus. And that school was where all of the Anheuser Busch family went. I think it eventually was just down to an elementary school, but the entire family went there for their education, including their last president.
So what were you there for?
The tour.
Oh, just
right. Yeah, the tour.
Okay.
Right. It's just a massive campus, right?
Like
It'll blow your mind how, but it's the commitment to the city, right? The commitment to service. And, here's another big takeaway, right? Like they didn't lay anybody off during Prohibition. Yeah. They just pivoted, right? Government says you can't make alcohol. Well, we're the biggest beer manufacturer in the United States, and this is in the 20s. Can you even imagine shutting that down now? People would lose their mind, right? But what they did is they shifted everything from grain production for making alcohol into cereals, things like that, right? I mean, just a total paradigm. Didn't lay off a person for a decade. Right. Weathered that storm, all those losses, on the other hand, people I'm sure resign, not everybody's going to make it. And right. And I went into the coronavirus with that mindset, like that Anheuser Busch, got to be here to serve, got to make sure we don't lose people, make sure we give everybody an opportunity. Right. People, what's going on someone's table depends on me working harder than I've ever worked before to make sure we don't lose a man.
That's where you staffed up.
Right. But on the flip side of that, like not everybody's going to make it. Right. And this is pre core values. Right. And I wasn't making decisions and I wasn't evaluating performance and I wasn't setting metrics based on my core values. Right. Yeah. I just figured I'll just be the best version. I'll be Jordan. Right. 23, 72 and 10 Jordan, not Wizards Jordan.
Yeah. But even Jordan got tired.
Yeah. That's right. Right. Mm-hmm. And then you're not, again, it's all on you. You're not being a good leader. You're not making the right decisions about where these other people are on the team, whether they need a ball cup or a slap in the ass, or you need to get in their ass, right? Because they're not hitting a performance metric because you haven't made a decision as to what that's going to look like. Again, School of Hard Knocks, stop doing it.
To me, it comes down to, do you want it or do you not want it? What would you think?
Oh, I mean, nobody in your business is going to work harder than you.
Never.
No, I mean, that's just not going to happen. But what you do is you align yourself with people that work as hard as you and complement your weaknesses. That's the way I try to look at it. Is you try and pull that all together. And some people it gets to be a sink or swim moment. And coming from my military background, working with guys and I hate to say it, but once you start putting people's lives on the line, not just, if they had a good day or a bad day, but, do you get to come home? That makes things just tie in a whole lot tighter to where, hey, this is how we're doing it. And this is why we're doing it.
Yeah.
Let's just do it.
I was going over that with my technician last week. Is like, hey, let's sit down. I want to show you this, but not just show you how to do it, but why we do it. Because I think there's an element of why that makes people understand a little bit more of what you're doing.
Especially if they come from a different
background.
Well, not only background and upbringing, but
just an industry background.
If they came from a different store or different company, that's unheard of to do it this way because that's going to cost too much. Well, no, this is the product that we put out, and this is the way I like to do it because I ensure that what the customer get is what the best I can provide. So by doing that, and bringing everybody up to the same level, the same speed, and then we all know. But like you said, if I'm out here trying to be the best of me, well, other people look at it and they're like, oh, well, he's being the cheerleader for the company. I can just get by. Well, no, we all gotta be on the same sheet. And so, I mean, trying to be the best we gotta make sure everybody's being the best of them.
That's absolutely imperative. And that's, again, avoid this. This is a tough lesson, especially when you're the solopreneur, right? We've all been there. It's just you. And it feels like his recruiting poster, an army of one, right? Or maybe that. Maybe
no,
that.
I was be all you can be. I
Yeah,
came
that
in.
one. Okay, my bad.
Damn, I forgot about that one. Be all you can be.
Be all you can be, right?
Yeah, we're that old.
But we're gonna do a dive into the Army recruiting posters one night because I'm fascinated by them.
They're nothing compared to the Marine Corps ones, but we won't go into that.
The Marine Corps back in the 80s, I'm telling you, give me a sword, let me fight a dragon. I'm playing chess up on a mountaintop in the desert.
Yeah.
So my
awesome.
God,
Money.
let me sign up for
I
that.
mean, so awesome.
Let me ask you guys this, man. Making decisions about planning, right? You're a planner, I'm a planner. The content, we're going to kind of morph it into decisiveness as well as planning. So in order to create a plan, you got to make decisions.
Yeah.
And what type of decisions would you have to make to create a plan for your business?
Oh,
and that's a big question, right?
Yeah,
it encompasses so much, but let's just hit on a couple that are important to you.
Okay, so first and foremost, I always like to look at what's my end state. What is my goal? What am I trying to get accomplished? Whether it's my weekly accomplishment, monthly, 90, 60, 365 days later accomplishment.
Right.
I want to identify that.
Okay.
So with that, I can get a framework of how I'm going to get there.
Okay.
Because if you just come up with a task of, I'm going to take the trash out and I'm going to make sure on Friday that the dumpster is ready to go. Okay. Well, all right. So we're saying Friday, trash is going to be taken out. Dumpster is going to be good to go. Well, all the implied tasks that got to go into that. So it's not putting the horse before the cart, but it's identifying where that cart's going to end up. So then you can kind of look at it and do your backwards planning and come to where you're at. Because if I have things every day that got to get done, then those come easy. But 30 days from now, when I got to do sales tax or 90 days from now, when I've got to make sure my quarterly Social Security, FICA, and all that stuff.
You got to fill in the blanks in the middle, right?
Yeah, you fill in the blanks in the middle. But once you get that core calendar out, then you can make those big decisions. Like, I want to do more photography this year because product photography, it doesn't cost me much time, and it can be very lucrative.
So let me ask you this: when we met at the whiteboard party, you and I had a pretty in-depth discussion on tasks versus implied tasks. And I literally took that and wrote down what an implied task is from our conversation. And it's been on a sticky note on my freaking monitor since we talked. Explain to the audience what an implied task actually is so they get it, because I didn't really get it till you broke it down for me.
Okay, so I'm gonna use it in an easier example. So say Friday, we're going to go out and we're going to do a nice meeting together and we're going to have 30 people and a guest speaker. So that's Friday. That's the task. That's the end goal. We want to have, a bunch of people show up and have a nice thing. So the implied tasks, we start looking at, well, where's the venue going to be at? So that's one implied task. It's everything that ties in to making sure that task gets accomplished. Now, if I'm putting a starter or changing out my alternator in my truck, changing out the alternator is the task. The implied tasks are, well, I've got to make sure I have the right tools,
jack stands,
the right jack stands. I got the lift if I need the lift because, the 1500 Silverado, not exactly the lightest thing to take off that skid plate, but you got to make sure that all those little things that build up to accomplish the tasks are identified.
That's why I wanted to pinpoint that, because I've always been a task guy. I'm a write it down, check it off.
Square, list going down.
Remember, when you have that task, there's also the steps in between it, right? So you got point A to point Z, and then you have the rest of the alphabet in between. To break that down Barney style, that's what we're talking about with an implied task, is all the pieces of the puzzle that get you to a finished installed alternator, right? This guy's a wrench monkey. He knows all about how many different steps are involved in yanking your motor out and then putting it back in with your motorcycle. Those are the implied tasks. And I wanted to hit on that because it's so important, because a lot of people just think, hey, I got to send this proposal on Friday. Well, there's a lot of shit to do before that, right? Set the meeting, meet the client, get the scope of work, come back, design the system, then send it. So those are the implied tasks for something like I would do. So what are you thinking about this over there? Your head looks like it's spinning right now with this whole.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was just kind of going through the whole taking the motorcycle. You know, like, do you got to take?
Oh, you're
yeah. I'm
away in
going.
your head.
I'm going, man. I'm already going. You know, and you got to take the fuel tank off, guys. Just say you got to start there, right? You try to slide that out without doing that, you're gonna have a hard time. Anyway, that's beside the point. The fact of the matter is that a lot of us don't get these kind of decision making. You know, let me just ask audience, if you can reply, please do. You guys here in the room, how much actual how-to did you get in any professional education you had, whether it was in the military or not? Like, this is how you come up with this.
I don't think you can
I don't think I
compare
learned
civilian
shit.
world with military world, because they break it down Barney style for you there, step by step. I know the Marine Corps did, like shit, shower, shave. They taught you how to shave. They taught you how to brush your teeth. They taught you how to shower. That's a little bit different, because in the military, and we can all attest to it, it's broken down by the numbers, and that's how Marine Corps call it.
And that's the step by step block of instruction. That's the Army was great on that one. I mean, you know, I learned it in PLDC back in 2002. It's like, you know, hey, we're going to take apart this pen, and this is how you do it. You go A,
yeah,
you grab it with your dominant hand. You
but,
go
but
B.
But how do you take that information? What did they teach you about how to take that information and apply it to real world? This is what you're going to want to do in your business.
I think I know where you're going with
that's
this.
Where I'm going. It's like, it's the actual, it's the knowledge behind the knowledge, right? It's the, like, back to the pen analogy, right? You're going to take this pen apart and put this pen back together. Where is the education? Yes, any grease monkey can take the pen apart and put it back together with the right set of instructions. I got that. But when you're talking about setting up protocols and this, that, and the other, and the decision-making paradigms of your business, real world application, they don't teach this in business school.
You got to have a training platform.
No, they don't. And I've taken the business classes.
Same here.
Going back to school for graphic design.
They don't teach you nothing about success.
They give you the 4 C's though. You give 4 C's.
What are those?
Oh, I couldn't remember.
No?
It's been about 10 years.
I can fill in the blanks, but we'll keep it PG.
But so
this is your tuition cost.
Yeah.
This is your book cost.
I think
this
is
your course
with
cost.
That, though. Yeah.
And this is your extra stuff cost.
I don't think that practical application comes from a book in anything that you do. That's just my personal opinion. AV technician. There's not a school you can go to that I know about that's be like, hey, I'm gonna make you a badass AV technician. You know where it comes from? The hard knocks. That's where it comes from.
A lot of it does. There's no doubt.
I made a mistake, so let me show you how not to do this so you can do it right the first time.
There's a lot of that.
So for me, I'm on a different schedule than that. I was a senior leader in the military, and I had to do a lot of leadership classes and how to be a leader and how to mentor and teach other people. And it's simple. They give you a book, and it'll tell you your tasks, how to do those tasks, what the implied tasks are in there. And they'll give you a standard, you know, the person is trained, they're proficient, or they're untrained.
Right.
They give you a scoring metric.
Break it down. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Scoring matrix to where you can figure out how to make all that happen. But what I found is when you come to the civilian side of the house, you come in here and you look at as a business consultant, looking at how people run things and how they try and get everything working here. A lot of people fall short because they know what the big picture is and they know what needs to get done, but not a lot of places put it down. So that way tomorrow, if you're sick, that Jeff could come in and he can pull it up and finish what you started.
Right.
I mean, the continuity book's a big thing, and the standard operating procedure that everybody knows. I mean, I spoke with a gentleman out in South Lake. He's got a barbecue place out there. And I said, hey, I know last time I was in here, there's a different lady who was working and she was cleaning tables this way. And she was, you know, making sure and policing all this up and taking everything in like that. And he's like, yeah, well, you know, she's been sick. So I had to hire a couple kids to come in here.
Yeah.
And they don't do a good job. I'm like, well, did you break it down to them? Did you show them, like, give them the ropes? He's like, I gave them the rundown, but nobody likes it when I bring out the book. Yeah. I'm like, but why? I mean, that's.
I think it's an attention span thing. Think about how fast your attention span is nowadays in general. Like it's amazing to see. Even myself, I'm the worst at it. Websites, books, whatever it is. If it's not attentive to me, I'm gone. I'm moving on, right? And that's just the nature of the beast. Imagine all the kids that are coming up. Like my son's 15. That dude has an attention span like the size of a piece of rice. And I'm being dead serious with you, right? I literally have to grab him by the shoulder sometime and be like,
pay attention.
Hey, and give him the dad.
You're going to need this.
Seriously, because that's how technology has evolved our youth. That's how technology has evolved the world. You have everything you need right
so
here. So fast, too much information, too much bullshit, whatever it is on your phone. I think when people go, hey, want to sit down and read this? Oh, man. I got a job coming back home from San Diego, moved home 7 years ago or so. 15 years, boots on deck project manager for multi-million-dollar AV systems all across the United States. Rah, rah, rah. Hey, we're going to give you what you're asking for and pay, and we're going to let you do this as a project manager. They got me there, and they set me down and told me to read everything that they've ever created for 30 days. I was gone in 45. Right? It did not meet my expectations. My attention span was not there. I had already been there and done that with this company. Like, why would I want to start over? So where you're talking about the processes and procedures and writing them down, absolutely 100% agree with you. Got to have them. You have to have them. So in case he's sick, I can step in and go up to bat. You know what I mean? People don't want to read anything nowadays. So how do we use that technology to counter that? That's the question.
So
is it digital? Is it forms?
Okay. So I had a client and they wanted to streamline everything. They wanted to go from, binders on the wall. They want to get it all downloaded to a database, which is fine. You can sit and spend time at the scanner and burn it all in, put it onto a PDF, make it all nice and pretty. But then, you're not getting people to read it.
Yeah.
Because I hate to say it, but if you want to give somebody something to read, it's not doing it on an 8-inch screen. It just doesn't work that way. But what we can do is we can make those things always consumable. They're easily digestible because we're not eating the whole buffet. We're maybe just going to take a little slice here in the corner.
That makes sense.
That's what I like to do is
little chunks
to break it down to little chunks.
Yeah.
But for things that are super important, super serious, we used to call them, serious incident reports, stuff that is coming down the hill. People can lose their jobs, get in trouble, fired, and it's going to be painful. We used to take a whiteboard, just those, the small ones, and hey, here's your top 3 on it. And the top 3, these 3 things, I don't care, but you will always answer them. You will always know them, and you will always have them, just like going back to the military and your 3 orders, your 3 general orders. You're going to know these regardless to the end of time. And
I like the breakdown of in small increments. I think that's how we digest better.
I do think that's so accurate. And in fact, it's funny because I was talking to our team members, Katie and Tara. What's up, y'all? They're really, they got their finger on the pulse of this, right? So we're talking about growing and scaling and implementing new policies and protocols into our business and how we're going to do that. And then in shortening content, transforming content from written to video and audio, right? So it's available on multiple platforms, but like thinking about like this onboarding manual, even for the guys cleaning the grease traps and the trash cans, right? I mean, anybody who's had a side hustle or been to a restaurant where it ain't happening, you can tell when the goddamn grease trap ain't being cleaned, right? Because it's got that poo-poo.
I can name a couple on Rockwall now. But I won't.
Like somebody needs to use a little poopery in the bathroom, but they can't fix that, right? Because it's the backed up grease trap. So, there are things that you notice, right? And, you walk into a restaurant that's got their procedures and protocols squared away. But I get what you're saying is you're communicating with a new generation. It's funny because also today came up, why are they calling them Gen Z?
Who knows?
Generation Z?
Yeah.
The newest, whatever. But, they're like, how are they working out? No, somebody shot me an email like, how's Gen Z working out in your workforce? comment here, and it's somebody who's trying to build an article on LinkedIn, right? From like different industries, and how you're interacting and this, that, and the other. And I'm like,
he should have just took it to Twitter. They would have let him know.
What I'm taking away from this though is,
it's just that everybody's learning different. And you're right, Jeff.
Exactly.
Like stepping down, like we talked about that earlier in the year, right? That YouTube is the industry leader, and it's an industry leader in many things, but it's also an industry leader in attention span.
Dude, it's second next.
4 minutes is the like YouTube doesn't want your shit to be longer than 4 minutes.
Well, here's
right.
the
So
deal.
if you're saying 3-minute content, right?
Yeah.
And so how do you turn this is how you clean out the trash can. Like maybe you need to turn that into a piece of audio content, piece of video content that they can throw on their smartphone. And then while they're walking around the restaurant, busting tables, and they're listening to that old McDonald's jingle, you got time to lean, you got time to clean. Right.
Damn.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I love that one.
Right. I mean, come on, man. That's what we're talking about. But you got to connect.
Yeah.
Right. So you're the not the army of one. What
it was the be all you can be.
Be all you can be. Right. So look, generation. If you study the military, they are a great touchstone for how you communicate with multi-generations. Right. We want you for the U.S. Army. Right, just think about how powerful we want you. That was how they connected.
Uncle Sam, we can all do it. We got Susie Strong.
Yeah. That's how they connected with the greatest generation. Right, they didn't really have to sell it a lot. Right, somebody bombed Pearl Harbor, but the generations that came after, right, especially Vietnam, the 70s, the Generation X, Y, now Z. Right, every deal is a little bit different. Right, so. Be all you can be. We were the first latchkey kids, not you. You don't remember. You're the second generation of latchkey kids.
I wasn't born in the 50s, bro.
Yeah, you weren't born. The younger brother that got to find out that
he's Army of One, right? Because their generation.
I'm not Army of shit.
No, but you understand. You understand. That's the advertising campaign.
No disrespect, but I thought you.
Yeah,
no.
The Marines, it goes over his head sometimes.
Yeah. Anyway, get him a crayon. But what I'm getting at is the way that you communicate with different generations.
It's imperative, man. You have to learn that. I'm learning that on a daily basis with a couple of guys I'm mentoring, the people that work for me, even as far as the vendors I do business with.
What about clients?
Oh, and that's an ongoing thing. That's funny you say that, because I was just talking earlier about Evan and I. We were talking about having to break things down. Sometimes people come in and they give you every piece of the recipe. Like you're sitting at a table and they're like, this is exactly how I'm going to do, let's say your taxes. Man, that shit goes over my head like that. I just stop, bro. That's why I'm paying you. Evan and I are working on some content strategy. This week we had a conversation. It's like, just stop. Make it simple. Make it real simple for me, because I need it to be simple, or you're going to convolute it and I'm going to lose interest. So you have to break it down. You have to understand and go back to what you said with the clients. That's a daily thing for me. My job is to break down complex systems into simple solutions. People ask me what Black Level AV is. That's what it is. Most of the people I do business with have no idea about technology. That's why they hire me. So it's a daily thing that you always have to learn. And then not only learn, but implement those as you take action. Decide, hey, this is how I'm going to do business. This is the way I'm going to talk to these certain people. No balls cupped in this company, but you know what I'm saying? But you have to make those decisions that make you a better person and make your team better. That's at the end of the day what it's about, right? Your team is a representation of what? Your brand.
Right on. Yep. Ride for the brand, right? It's code of the West.
Every time.
Code of the West.
Every time, man. So I think, this is some good shit, man. I'm glad you're here,
Keith.
man. I appreciate it. Yeah.
This is fantastic.
And I think we're only hitting the tip of the iceberg with this guy and the planning. We got a whole bunch of different stuff we could talk to this guy about. So something in particular sticking out with you? I mean, I have a couple of notes here, but they're basic things like don't second guess yourself. We all know that, right? Well, let's talk a little bit about that. When you second guess yourself, what does that do?
I mean, then you kind of end up going half in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you start second guess, did I do the right? Did I make the right decision on this one? Especially new startups. If a person, hey, I'm done with my 9 to 5. I'm working for myself. I'm done working for the man, done punching the clock, and I'm going to do it. But then they kind of go half in and go, did I make the right decision here? Was this a mistake?
I did it
I mean,
too,
and
yeah.
in that first 30 days when you have 0 invoices, you got 0 billed hours.
First 120 days.
Well, I mean, the first 333 days,
Yeah.
I had a business partner. He was working and never got paid because what he was doing was
I can't. Yeah.
was paying nothing. And I asked, I was like, why are we doing spec work? Why are you trying to find models to do photography of when we've got a full portrait studio and just start lining up outside and we could get people in, whether it's kids, grown adults, you want to do mini sessions, full, wedding engagement stuff. Do something that pays you, but why are you trying to still build a portfolio? We have the business. Yeah. We've got the sign on the door. We've got a place to do this. Why build business when you can be making business?
Casey likes to say, "Hey, Robert, thanks for watching us, brother. I see you commenting here, man. He's sitting in a hotel room working on his procedures right now. So timely Facebook Live here for you. So hey, keep grinding, brother. We appreciate you following us. But I think Casey likes to say, what is it? Better is done. Well, that too. But what is the saying that you say when you say
done is better than perfect, but not all the time?
Okay, so that's something that I can't stand when you say
stand when you're talking to Jeff Skinner.
But over the years that this guy's been saying it, there are some times when it makes sense.
Well, there's merit to it, yeah.
But there's also the 1 foot in the boat, 1 foot out of the boat.
That's true, and
which is tough. It's a balance.
There's a time that that's what Seth's trying to say. Any action is better than no action or inaction, right? And I here's an example of done is better than perfect, right? When you're promoting yourself, your business, your brand, get it done. It does not have to be perfect. The first YouTube video I did was 4 or 5 years ago when, back in 1993 when YouTube came out. Just kidding. But it was shot on an iPhone 4, basically just holding it in front of me back when all you could do was, flip the camera here. Very basic.
4? It was a flip phone. That's what he's saying, right? Evan said it's a flip phone. I get that, man.
It might have been a roller razor.
That kind of thing makes total sense. When you're new, you're up and coming, you're trying to get your brand.
Do it.
Get yourself out there.
A lot of people, they've always been hammered, first impressions count. First impressions
they do count.
But go ahead.
But if you sit on the sideline, you never make an impression.
Exactly. I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, because there is a portion of when, let's say, that 90-day mark for me. I'd had a couple of jobs. No one knew who I was, even though I kind of grew up in this area, but they didn't know who I was as a business. So what did I do? I just inundated myself with networking. I did, like you said, like I was on the sidelines for 90 to 120 days, just waiting. And then I realized, you know what? This shit ain't working.
Yeah. You got to get known.
I had to make a decision to go out there and put myself in an uncomfortable situation to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Right. And that's where
we talk about that all the time.
Yeah. And that's when things started evolving. I love that analogy of if you sit on the sideline, no one's ever going to throw you the ball.
No. Yeah. You never get in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, you get, and I've seen it. I've done branding, logos and headers and, paper and business cards and envelopes, all the whole package for people.
Yeah.
And you get them and they keep making small changes. And we start coming around in a circle. I'm going, hey, hold on. Let's have another, meeting of the minds. Let's figure this out. Yeah. Is the artwork bad? Is there something wrong? And they're just like, well, I just think that if I don't have it perfect the first time, I'm like, Nike didn't have the perfect swoosh the first time.
That's true.
Negative.
Apple didn't have the perfect bite the first time.
Oh man.
I mean, look at all of these multi-billion-dollar businesses out there.
Oh yeah.
That came out and they've done some serious changes. McDonald's, it's got, I believe, the most fast food restaurants in more nations than any place else in the world, except for Starbucks is starting to catch up.
I was about to say, yeah.
I mean, just the idea that the Golden Arches didn't start at the Golden Arches.
No, they were this funky looking.
Yeah, but the evolution of the Starbucks, the Nike, the Apple, all that stuff, you could literally put their their photo of their icon somewhere,
Mhm.
and it's world renowned.
Yeah, now.
Exactly.
But when
Yeah.
when that first person said,
Mm-mm.
I think we can do this, they got out and did it,
Yeah.
and then they evolved to what they needed. And
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, is that once we can get past the, okay, my gut says
Mhm.
I need to still do this, but I'm going to second guess it.
Yeah.
But if you evolve yourself and know that it's always going to be a work in progress, and that's what I love about a lot of people. They quote business plans and they're like, oh, your business plan should be set in stone. It should be what you can pull back to. I always looked at it. It's like, it's a living article.
It's fluid.
It's a living thing. And
Yeah.
it grows as you grow, and it adjusts as
It's like
times
the
need to
Constitution,
adjust.
depending on what justice you're.
I think Evan is.
Yeah.
I think Evan is a prime example of what we're talking about right now. And I know he's on the opposite side of the camera right now, but I want to just throw this out there, and I hope you don't mind. But today was his last day as employee, Evan Renfro.
Way to go!
Right. So you want to talk about sitting over there in an uncomfortable situation right now?
Yeah.
And getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, brother. Embrace it. Right. And if you're watching, you see this later, you listen to our podcast, it's the uncomfortable situation where it's the time you need to make a decision more now than ever. Would you agree with that?
Yes, because when you, like I said, you don't step in and you don't take that chance, that risk.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wants to be sitting at that ripe old age of, 85, 90 going, well, I wonder if I coulda, shoulda, woulda, or
yeah.
Unfortunately, like friends we do have that didn't make it that far.
Mm-hmm.
Did I pass away with an opportunity still being upright and walking that they never had?
Right.
Wow, that's heavy.
Well, I mean, I didn't mean to take it that way, but
no, but
at the end of the
truth.
day,
Think about Lewis, right? Right. I mean, that's one of our alliance, right? And then, deprived of opportunities, and you don't want to be looking backwards on your life going, man, I shoulda. Right. And there's some things like that, that time in Hong Kong. Yeah. You should, that moment of self-control that came in handy. Right. But then there's those other moments like, if you're afraid of a decision in business, my mentor will tell you, almost any Navy SEAL will tell you, then that's the right action. Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what's going to make you uncomfortable. That means that's going to push you. That's the burn the ships mentality that Jeff was talking about on the New Year's broadcast, right? I'm burning the ships. We're not looking behind,
Yeah.
Don't leave anything on the court.
But here's the other caveat to that too, is make smart decisions. Don't just make a decision to make a decision. Put some thought into it. Talk with your mentor. If you don't have one, I highly recommend getting one. Talk with your alliance. Shoot us an email. Talk to us. We have guys like Seth that love doing this for people.
Right.
There are tools and resources out there to where you don't have to make that decision on your own. I had a great conversation with my mentor yesterday going, where the fuck am I mentally? He says, I don't know, but suck it up because it's going to get better. Like, I'm that kind of guy. I'm okay with the rough love because I need
no
that.
ball cupping.
Yeah, I don't want anybody
to
baby me or softly tell me something I want to hear. That's not going to make me a better person. I don't make decisions on my own because I've learned that when I do make those decisions on my own,
he ends up in Hong Kong.
Or I end up in a situation where I'm trying to do my own will.
Yeah.
Right. And my favorite person on this planet and my biggest cheerleader is my wife. And I was complaining about some shit again today because I just been in a funk and I love her. She says, quit bitch. It could be worse. It could be worse. It can always be worse. You don't have to make a decision on your own. You got us, you got Evan, you got Seth, you got the whole PBA, and we're here for you guys. So make a decision, but make an informed decision.
There you go.
Kind of the
right.
Do the homework.
Mm-hmm.
Do the homework because when you start going and jumping half cocked, it definitely makes the game of Hard Knocks a lot sooner than you want it to be.
Yeah, no,
I agree. I'm not saying make rash decisions. I
don't think you are.
And one of the things that we had kind of put in the content, and we're off topic, but I love the way the synergy flows. Right? Like if you're a young solopreneur, a young business owner, and the scariest thing I ever did was hire my first legal assistant and then my first paralegal. And then the scariest thing was, do I hire this young attorney, basically kid lawyer, just barely out of law school, and can I give them what they need on the 1st and the 15th, man? But that drives you, right? That will push you. Now, don't do it rashly.
No, you're
right,
dead,
knowing
dead,
that you
right.
don't have your shit in one sock. Sorry, Keith. But what's that commercial running right now? Fortune favors the brave, favors the bold. Being bold, being brave, taking that right level action, but no rash actions.
There's a point where hiring someone is the most scary but most rewarding thing for you. And they always say get employees, it'll be fun. It's not always fun. It's not. And let's just be straight up honest with you.
Do your deductions. I'm sure that's always fun.
But what I love the most about what you said is those days, even when I'm not motivated, because I don't rely upon motivation, I try to rely upon discipline more than motivation. Those days when I'm not motivated to carry out and be a disciplined business owner, that 1st and 15th, that'll get you going. You have no choice. You're now feeding 12 families. You're now feeding 8 families. I'm now feeding 4 or 5 families, whatever it may be. So I love the fact that you said that, because it's so true. If you're trying to find motivation, get employees.
Yeah.
Straight up. They're not always fun, and they're kind of a pain in the ass.
But you're being of service, right? And that is in itself. We always talk about these little paychecks to the heart, being of service to others, but, providing opportunities that you were never provided, right? There are employers that I worked for that if they would have kept 1/10 of the agreements that we made together, just 1/10 of them, I probably would still be an employee there.
No, you wouldn't.
Right?
You weren't destined for that.
Well, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But
if you're always living for yourself, then are you really living?
No.
Right?
No, you got to be about the mission. You got to be about service. You got to be about right. We talked about, my friend Rebecca said that every human has 3 big iterations of their life, 3 big deaths, right? The death of your childhood, right? When you become an adult, a man or a woman, right? The death of your natural body, and the death of your legacy.
Wow.
Right. So you think about, like, for example, our buddy Mike Donegan, about the entire county of Rockwall and
his spread was deep. He casted a big net.
That's big shoes to fill, big shadow, right? And just somebody that was loved and lifted people up. And, that's the legacy that's going to continue on. Right. And so what are you doing to earn that every day?
Well, it all starts.
What am I doing to earn that every day?
It starts.
That's motivation.
It starts with making decisions, and planning out your goals and putting action to them. Everything that we've kind of talked about tonight, because you can't build a legacy sitting on the sidelines.
No, it. And a lot of people think about that. They're like, oh, well, you're part of this, you're part of that. What's the lasting impact that I'm going to have at the end of the day?
Yeah.
And realistically, after my kids are gone, maybe nobody, but hopefully touched enough, done enough.
Yeah.
That there's
impacted enough.
A couple people out there that still go, hey, remember this guy.
Yeah.
And those are great, because as a business owner,
you thrive on those.
You thrive on it, and your business thrives on it, because then it's not only just, hey, I work, over here and I do this with this guy, but this guy also does it. And then they start reaching out and they're like, oh, well, I know him. And if he's working with you or working for you, then
something must be right.
It is. And that, you bring your core values to it, and then they start seeing how the whole thing goes full circle.
Man, what a good topic tonight, man.
That's awesome.
I love that the full circle thing means so much to me, because I've taken my whole life full circle and completely transitioned myself to be a totally different person. And I think all of us have, post-military, into civilian sector, some of the things that we've done, seen, places we've been, or whatever. You got any save rounds? We're kind of at the top of the hour. Save rounds,
man. Okay, so here's a little lesson that I think's good. I got it from a mentor, and if you're struggling as a solopreneur with being decisive, there's real simple things you can do to help train yourself. Like, you didn't get good at public speaking unless you practice, right? You didn't get good at your free throws unless you shot 200 or 300 a day, your golf swing, whatever it is, your ballet lessons, your violin class, your piano, just doesn't matter. You have to practice. So how do you practice? Here's an easy way to go to your favorite coffee shop. Actually, don't go there. Go to a coffee shop you've never been to before. Look at the menu one time and order a dadgum coffee. It doesn't matter if it's a coffee with cream and sugar or coffee black, or if it's give me the most high maintenance macchiato, something or another you got.
The Karen special.
Yeah. Just go, right. Take some action. Put yourself outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Don't go to that place on the square in McKinney. Go somewhere you haven't been. Right. And just be a little decisive. And, these little baby steps will help you be bolder. Right. So that's another one, especially when you're a solopreneur just out on your own and you're literally, I was there afraid of your shadow, right? Making a decision. Am I going to have enough to cover the mortgage, to cover it, right? Like, if I take this job, will I have money to spend at Kroger? These are the decisions that you're afraid of making badly in that first 30, 60, 90, 120, right? Because after that, the cash flow starts coming in. Your service to others you will start reaping those benefits. But that first 90, 120, like your buddy, 330, like you feel like you're on the moon without a spacesuit with no oxygen. Yeah. At least that's how I felt.
Oh, it gets lonely when you sit there 8 hours a day, you got the shingle out front, the sign, doors open, everything. Yeah. And nobody walks through it. You just sit there. And you don't even have work to keep yourself busy. You just sitting and waiting.
Man, that may be another topic for another time about how you got from there to something else. You know what I mean? Because I hate, man, I know businesses right now that they're just doing enough to get by. They're not making money. They're being more busy than they are profitable. Yeah. And that defeats the whole purpose of being in business. Like, I don't chase the dollar. And I think we've talked about that 100 million different ways this Sunday here. But there is a certain point in business where if it's not working, and you have to try something different, you have to adapt, redirect fire. You know what I mean? See what's going on. What am I doing? Because a lot of the times, the things that I've had to fix in my life have all started with the things I had to fix with me.
Self-awareness, man. Be self-aware. Yeah. That's a huge
That's my save.
That's what this is all about, man. Really, at its core.
Seth, well, thanks a lot for coming in, brother. I really
so much, man. It's awesome, man.
Running in and coming up. We'll have you again. Just want to close out this evening with saying thank you guys to our listeners and our followers. Spotify, Apple iTunes.
Keith.
Any podcast you can find us on.
Spicy language as usual.
Next Wednesday, 19th January.
January 19th.
In-person live. Patriot Business Alliance networking event. We've never been a networking thing, and you guys that have followed us know that, but we're going to give this a little different shot. 2022, we're going to redirect fire. We're going to try some things out this year. We're going to be changing up our content strategy. We're going to be working, a little bit differently this year. So come see us next week at the space.
There will probably be some good reasons to be here. So be here.
That's it, man. So other than that, we're going to go, I guess, get some chow and get ready for $10,000 Thursday.
$10,000 Thursday.
Y'all be good. Hey, what is it? Well, let me see if I can get this right. Boy Doc says here, if you can't be good at it.
Right on.
You know what he said?